This episode of Bonfireside Chat is brought to you by patrons such as yourself, your friends, your loved ones. Look out the window. Your mailman may be one of our patrons. Say, hey, Skippo, what's up with all these bills? And he'll say, sorry, gotta pay those fine folks Duckfeed.tv, patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv. You heard of it? And then you should get him fired for doing 2 jobs at once. Fuck that guy.
Some of our landings were desperate adventures. We are now prepared to meet the inevitable counterattacks with power and with confidence.
These hunts have everyone all locked up inside, waiting for it to end. It always does, always has, since forever. But it won't end nicely, not this time. Even some folks hiding inside are going bad. The screams of women folk, the stench of blood, the snarls of beasts, none of them's too uncommon now. Yarnum's done for, I tell ya. But if you spot anyone with their wits about them, tell them about this here Oedon Chapel. They'll be safe here. The incense wards off the beasts. Spread the word. Tell them to come on over, if you wouldn't mind.
My name is Gary Butterfield.
My name is Kole Ross.
Hey guys, and I'm Dave Klein.
And you're listening to Bonfireside Chat. It is a hunter's favorite.
Yes, and this week we are talking about the Cathedral Ward. And as you heard, we're joined by Dave Klein. Hey, welcome.
Hey, thanks so much for having me on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so people may remember Dave from last season where we talked about Belfry Luna. And the like. And you may know him from his YouTube channel, Dave Control Live. Dave, why don't you just let everybody know if they're not familiar, which they should be. And if they're not, we haven't been doing our jobs. Because we mentioned your show and channel pretty frequently. But if they're not familiar, why don't you let us know a little bit about your background with this series and the like.
But, oh my, has Belfry Luna changed? And well, actually, I'm playing it right now, so I haven't gotten in there yet for Scholar of the First or Symphony of the First Sin, as I like to call it.
Yeah.
I like that.
I just like to combine it with Symphony of the Night. But yeah, so I'm Dave of Dave Control Live, and I've been making Bloodborne, Dark Souls, Souls-related videos for almost 2 years now. It's coming up to 2 years at this point, so lots of lore-related videos, Dark Souls lore, Dark Souls 2 lore, now Bloodborne lore, comedy one-off videos about the games, as well as, I have a series of super shows where I do comedy retrospectives, and I've covered Dark Souls in there, so I'm starting to broaden out a bit and do like history shows and things like that. But I talked about Kingsfield, all the From Software games. I'm a huge From Soft fan in general.
Yeah, one of the things I love is whenever in any of your lore videos you hit up that Ancient City soundtrack, and it's so good.
Yeah.
So like every time I can hear music from the Ancient City, I'm pretty happy.
It's great too because I don't know. It's nice for that aspect when I throw in that stuff because I'm like I appreciate this, and I'm sure there are people like you, Cole, who get it and are like, yeah, I know what you're doing there. I know what you're pulling.
Yeah. Well, it's super smart from I'm sure everybody has heard this boss's theme here. So, and also it doesn't fit, like the Kingsfield soundtracks are more ambient. And so it just fits over the kind of stuff that you're trying to do.
Yeah, well, especially with Bloodborne. Actually, that's kind of the issue with Bloodborne lore videos is I've had people ask me, why don't you use more Bloodborne music? And I'm like, well, look, it's good music. Don't get me wrong, but it's not good music for this type of video.
Yeah,
most of it's very dissonant boss music, which is great, but not for a lore video.
You should just put out one video where it is all that and say, see?
Yeah. Like a compare and contrast.
That's like version 1 and version 2, and version 1's the intense Bloodborne lore video with all the Bloodborne music.
Well, the risk is if the intense one is more popular.
Yeah. Yep. So, yeah, everybody, I can't recommend Dave's channel enough. Like, everybody who's listening should definitely check it out. And we are very happy to have you back, Dave.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really enjoyed last time I was on, so can't wait.
Awesome. Cool. Why don't you let us know a little, tell us what we did last time.
Yeah. So last time we dipped down into Old Yarnum, where we saw kind of where the beast scourge began, at least en masse. And after defeating the blood-starved beast the wrong way, I might add, and claiming the Thumaru Chalice, we headed back up to the hub of the Cathedral Ward, looking for a new way forward.
Wait, did you guys parry the blood-starved beast, or what was the wrong way you were doing it? Yeah, I did too. I did forever, and I didn't until literally my first time not parrying it was for a new video I'm working on, which will remain undisclosed for the time being. But for a new video I'm working on, I was fighting the Bloodstar Beast scan. I was like, why don't I just try dodging this time? And it was so much easier.
Yeah, there's a particular trick we'll talk about in the appendix that we just all of us just had a mass hysteria where we looked it over. So.
Yeah, but so Cathedral Ward. Sorry.
Cathedral Ward.
I just got really excited about that.
So the Cathedral Ward is where Gilbert tried to send us from the very start of the game. We talked to Gilbert. He said, hey, if you're looking for blood, these guys know blood. And it's actually blocked off from Central Yarnum, where most people seem to live. It's kind of barricaded off. But it's connected to all these different areas. And we've made our way into the Great Chapel of Oedon, which rests at the center, and it's filled with these kind of alien statues. That's not the Oedon Cathedral is where we're at. But there is this Great Chapel.
The Great Cathedral has those.
Yeah.
But both of them, all of them got the peanut heads.
Yeah. Yep. And this is, we don't know who lives here or what this is like day to day. However, there is a locked door at the top of the Healing Church workshop, which we'll be talking about way later in the season.
Well, we know that cathedral dwellers live in there. That beautiful, beautiful man.
Yeah, the melted candle man.
Yeah, Flory.
Yeah, Flory. Yeah. Don't forget me.
He's more he's more cloak than man.
Yeah.
I didn't know for the longest time that he actually had a body until you can clip through and see his amazing butt and be like, oh.
Keeping it tight.
Yeah, it's like how they used to shoot the Muppets. Like they just dug out the floor and have him under there, like with his head through a table.
That's what I thought it was, but it turns out he's actually knelt over. If you clip through his like he's kneeling, and you can clip through and see his entire body. But yeah, at first I was like, is his body just in the floor? And apparently not. I thought it was exactly that though.
Help! I've fallen. I'm stuck.
I'm falling and I'm part of the floor.
Go into the basement and just like find a broom or something and push me up through the hole.
Like when Homer gets stuck in the
the radiation tank.
Yeah.
They're surrounded by incense, so it's all right. Actually, that's an important thing, though. I don't know if you guys have touched on incense or not, but he's the one who really tells you about incense and what it is.
Yeah, the purpose, disguising the scent.
Yep, disguising the scent to keep the beast away. Which ends up this being, this is kind of a haven, a safe haven. This is our hub, our nexus, a little bit.
Yeah.
For this. So the kind of, we come up with these theses for each area, and this one we kind of Cole has come up with. Well, I'll let you say it. Cole writes these, so I'll let him say it.
Yeah. Yes. So just in thinking about this area and what it represents in the whole of the game, just this sentence comes to mind: one step behind the truth and always at a dead end. Right? Because we came here for answers, right? But, at the very front door of this answer, in fact, at the multiple front doors we find, it's locked and it's away. And you get the sense that the what you're looking for is always kind of like moved one step ahead of you, right? Mm-hmm. And even though in retrospect, like once we finish out what we're going to talk about this area, that's a huge kind of coup as far as the answers we're looking for, even if we don't realize it at the time. Exactly.
Like we don't have the context for what it means, but this is the first step in the story kind of getting real. And doing that switch that we've talked about a bunch where it's like you start off and it's like, oh, it's the werewolf game. And then this is the first thing hinting like, nope, it's not a werewolf game.
Random aside, your thesis just makes me think of when I played Grim Fandango about a month ago.
Oh, yeah. I could see that. Yeah. I mean,
because every time I would make progress, I'd be like, well, great. I'm just at another dead end and don't know what the hell to do. So it just reminded me of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, this area definitely, like, they try to make you think it's important right off the bat because there's a cutscene when you enter it. And
super spooky cutscene.
Yeah. And even then, though, you really don't know much about it when you first enter. It's just like, all right, well, there's this creepy, weird guy sitting here talking about wanting to bring people to join him. And that's about it. That's pretty much all you get.
Yeah. We're directed here, right? So we have another reason to feel like we should trust it, because if we go back and visit the Hunter's Dream and talk to Gurman, he has new stuff to say usually after kind of major events or boss fights. And he tells us actually to seek this chapel.
Yeah, this is the dialogue that opens up after you beat the Blood-Starved Beast. Like he specifically drives you up towards the workshop, ascend to Oedon Chapel.
Yep. And so inside here, the Cathedral Dweller, it's weird that so this guy turns out to be a solid bro. Like this is undeniably good character in the game, but From Software can't not give people creepy laughs. I feel like no matter who they are, they have to be kind of spooky. Yeah. So
I just want you to be my friend.
Like even when he gets panicked, he's a little Smeagol like.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, I think they did a good job, or the voice actor did a good job, because even with the dialogue and his creepy laugh, you still, at least I still felt like he was trustworthy, even though there's that hint there of like, can I trust this guy or not? In the end, I decided I felt like he was, and I think that's really more props to the voice actor for doing a good job.
I like that ambiguity and the way that the way that it subverts who you can and can't trust.
Yeah.
It definitely, we're definitely benefited by that kind of gray area.
I think another important thing though that you touched on, I think it was Gary who said this, was that it's that dialogue of ascending Oedon Chapel. And I think a lot of people don't realize, or, you breeze through that stuff. You don't think too much about it because this is called the Cathedral Ward. And we never really hear it referred to as Oedon Chapel again outside that one bit of dialogue.
Yeah.
And I mean, we do have, the cemetery of Oedon, which is right next to it, that area. But the fact that it's called Oedon Chapel, I think, is incredibly important. It's something that's really necessary to note on and remember that.
Yeah. We were talking in the green room a little bit about some information about Oedon. Do you want to kind of let us know what you were thinking about that?
Yeah, I mean, I obviously don't want to say too much because as we're going step by step, but we do find the formless Oedon rune here if you go up a bit, which I guess is skipping ahead because technically you need to have access to Upper Cathedral Ward to get it. But you beat the Bloodstar Beast, so you can get there.
Yeah.
So you beat the Bloodstar Beast, it opens it up, you can get the formless Oedon rune, and you find out a little bit about Oedon, which is who this chapel is named after, and he's a formless deity. It's a formless great one who is all about blood. That's what this deity is about, and we're starting to really get these important connections here that Oedon is the great one of blood. This is the great cathedral, which is the church of blood healing, which is Oedon Chapel. So all of a sudden it's like, oh, this must be the great one that they specifically worship.
Yeah.
Is that the same room that talks about the fact that taking blood is communion?
I think that rune is called communion.
Okay. No, it's just called blood. It's just like a rune of blood. I have it in the notes. I can locate.
Yeah, I know there's
later.
the communion rune which says that formless Oedon might also mention communion though, and I can't remember offhand.
Yeah. But that is super weighted language when you're talking about stuff that you put in your body.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What's interesting here with this, the dweller asking us to bring people, is this also corresponds with Yosefka now asking you to send her survivors.
Yeah, and her demeanor kind of changes, right? Like initially she just wanted you to go away to protect the people who were in there. And now she's saying that she cannot ignore her Hippocratic oath, which that's odd.
Yeah, there is a Hippocrates in the world of Bloodborne.
Yeah, so
yeah, I was thinking too. I like that language as well because Hippocratic goes with hypocrite and Hippocrates, so it can kind of go both ways.
Yeah, it's kind of a sly little hint because we haven't gone full into it, but we've been dancing around something being off with Yosefka. So if you're avoiding, if you haven't figured it out that something's weird by now, I'm sorry, I feel bad for you, son.
But here's the other thing too with her, if we're going to talk about her, is that and this is something I found out thanks to Marcus or Epic Name Bro, but there's a crack in the door, and at this point now that she's changed her demeanor, if you look through the crack through the door. You'll also notice that what she's holding is a little bit different too.
Yeah, I've actually noticed that too. I saw that in the same video, which is very cool. So something's up. We're going to talk about her at length later.
Yeah.
But now she's also asking for people.
Yeah, so you have two different places that you can send folks, and we're going to see a couple people in this area. In fact, there's some people we can go back to after this and send them in one direction or another. And it turns out that the chapel is probably the better place to send in most cases, except for one.
Yes. Yeah. So we have this lonely old woman who we ran into, who is a cranky old crone.
Send her to Yosefka.
Yeah.
Well, no. How am I going to get my sweet Z bars?
Yeah, I know. I need to suck on her purple drink. I almost said slurple drink, which is like I need to suck on that old lady's slurple drink, which is
I mean,
gross
considering
sentence.
what she gives you, that almost works a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but she initially maintains her hatred toward you, just like, oh, I'll come here, but that doesn't mean I have to like you. But her, I think we can talk about the way her story ends, because I don't think it's pinned to any kind of like progression. Like after a while, she starts warming up to you, and that's because she's losing her mind.
Yeah, which is a really cool kind of progression. Up until this point, as we mentioned, she gives you sedatives, which also in this area is the first time you're going to see why those might be useful, even though they're not quite useful here.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
you're gonna be
there is a time progression throughout the game, which, I mean, now that you've been the Bloodstar Beast, this is the first time progression you really get, is after the Bloodstar Beast time has now gone forward. It's a little bit further into the night. So, I mean, that's what marks her, her personal progression.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's super sad because, after she starts warming up to you, you can take advantage of her. She starts giving you sedatives. She eventually runs out, and she has to go get more. And after the second time you send her to get more, she ends up dying.
It's not sad at all. She's a cold, hard bitch.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So I'm trying to feather the break on the talking about old women being mean.
Yeah, it's okay, man. Sometimes old women are mean.
Yeah, this is
like,
true.
Not all grandmas are good. Like, some of them are bad.
Well, it's
grandmas.
like it's the funny thing with the grandma that's like the super racist. They're just saying some crazy racist thing. You're like, grandma, where did that come from?
The only reason
the 40s. It came from the 40s. Oh, I gotcha.
The only reason the grandma in this game doesn't rail off against gay marriage is because we haven't brought it up. But like, if we were somehow able to like, hey, so this is a chapel. Like, what if me and my buddy Lunarius want to get hitched? And then she would probably say some really, really vile stuff.
Maybe it's just foreigners. Maybe that's specifically her thing. No foreigners.
Yeah.
That's it. That's her one.
It's her coded language. Certain types, beastly types.
Gosh.
Yeah, I think her warming up to you is just more, to me, I interpret it more as just her going insane as opposed to her genuinely warming up to you. It's just that she's just doesn't even know who she is anymore.
And that's a thing with dementia, right?
Yeah.
Like eventually they either start seeing you as somebody from their past who they were fond of or something, like it, not to be like sad and a bummer, but like that's why I guess her story like resonates with me. Like you're seeing her regress through becoming hardened by this process.
No, that's true. I mean, she sees you as her son eventually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like if you've ever had a relative with Alzheimer's, like this is kind of familiar a little bit, where they start forgetting their initial attitudes towards you. Like I've been called a grandson by people who are not my grandparents many times, just through Alzheimer's. So So this area is kind of confusingly laid out. We're not necessarily going to hit this linearly because you kind of make loops through it and explore these little side spokes. Yeah. Like it is kind of a strangely laid out area, and it's also the biggest area I think we're probably going to end up covering in the game, possibly maybe outside of Yargle, but it's very big. So first we're going to kind of go through what we're calling the lower chapel path.
Yes, and this is kind of the beginning of the staircase that leads up to the grand chapel itself. You can look up there and see it. It's got kind of a similar clock tower to what Jura stands on top of. And you can see it there, but the problem here is that your progress is baffled by locked gates and also some tough enemies, right?
Yep. And so we're just going to hit the kind of main points, the specific encounters and new enemies. And this is interesting because you run into one of my favorite enemies in the game here, which are the kidnappers.
Yes.
The lanky bagmen.
These appear only after you defeat the Bloodstarved Beast.
Yes, and they appear randomly. Like they're not always here. This is not an enemy that's here all the time. Which is very cool. Like, I like that a lot. There are places where they do always appear, but this one does not always appear here.
Right.
Really?
And
I feel like from my playthrough after the Bloodstar Beast, they were always in the same spot.
I have definitely gone through this area after Bloodstar Beast and not run into dude. Unless it's something where if you kill him or get captured by him, he stops appearing.
Yeah.
Because those could be triggers, but I've definitely had him not appear here.
I've had him not aggro me. Like I've somehow managed to walk around his run at me, bro. Kind of sphere. And just kind of felt like, oh, that's weird. He didn't get me. But then on a return back, he got me there as well.
Like I said, it could be like he caught me, or I got caught on purpose.
Yeah.
I say coquettishly. It could be that he caught me, and that is why that triggers him to disappear. I've definitely been through this area post Bloodstar Beast and not had him be here.
Yeah.
So I don't know the specific mechanics of it.
Yeah.
But these guys, as it turns out, are not just tough enemies. Like they are, they're tough enemies. Like they can do a lot of damage. They have this real goofy kick that will hurt you.
I hate that kick.
That kick is like charged with ki or something. Like because like an explosion happens.
Yeah, and but if they kill you, something very cool happens, and you get taken to another area that blew my fucking mind.
Yep.
The first time it happened. But we're going to talk about that area a little bit later.
Yeah, it's funny because I was playing through the game side by side with Terra Mantis because we both got review copies, and it was like the one person I could talk to. And I got way further ahead than him at one point after that area. We were just like progressing at different paths, and he was like, yeah, so like, and talking about that area they take you to. And I had no idea what he was talking about. And then it just turned out that like I killed that guy and got him past it, and he died to it. And I just had no clue. So I completely missed it for a while. And luckily I hadn't gotten far enough where I could still trigger the event.
Yeah.
But for a moment I was like, oh no, what if I missed it?
I've definitely talked to people who did not know about this.
Yeah.
Which is very fun. Like it is just a very it reminds me of like whenever I get to talk to somebody who doesn't know about Dark and Orlando. It's just like, hey, all right,
wait a minute, what?
Yeah, exactly. Like that's a good feeling.
Yeah, it is. It totally is, and it's kind of an argument for being mediocre at these games.
Yeah, kind of. But yeah, we're going to talk about that later. But so rest assured, if we're not talking about that event, we'll get to it.
Yeah.
As of now, they're just tough enemies. that have a high consequence for being killed by them,
and we will treat them as such.
Yeah,
there's also these church servants, which we talked about them a little bit last time. But if there's anything we want to reprise here, aside from their creepy faces, which somebody pointed out that they on our Facebook group that their faces look like the face of the priest guy from Berserk.
Yeah, they do. That's actually a really good point.
Yeah,
they very much do, and also like you haven't gotten to the wheels of connection, but they kind of like look like the Marians a little bit to me, honestly. Which I know you guys haven't covered, but if anyone's ahead, Thumerians is just a race in the game, and they kind of look like that to me.
Yeah, I could see it for sure.
Well, I was gonna say there's a flamethrower one now.
Yeah. We get to that guy with the more intense weaponry. They're evolving.
Yep.
That one caught me by surprise the first time. I was like, whatever. I'll just run in and hit him a couple times. And he obliterated me. I was like, oh.
Yeah. Oh, and they only show up at like in one particular area of this level that they're designed to take advantage of.
Yeah. The initial ones, like I don't have anything to add to them mechanically other than that they're some of my favorite enemies to fight because they're so easy to parry.
Yep.
And then we also run into our friend Eileen here.
Yeah.
After you've cleared most of the area, she is sitting, just standing next to a coffin that looks like her silhouette off to the left.
I've still never found her in this area. I've still never found her in my own game. I saw the video where Body posted in his show, and I was like, even like now I was replaying through it, and I still haven't found her. I'm like, what the hell? Why can't I get her to show up?
I don't know what triggers her to show up here. I've completed her quest. So she's definitely shown up here, but I don't know the specifics of it.
Yeah, and you don't need to talk to her here to complete her quest either. So
yeah.
So I think that she shows up here just in case you missed her in the above the dry dock.
Well, she also gives you a unique gesture here.
Yes,
gesture here. So it's not just that. Like I think she gives you the is it shh? Does she give you the hush?
Like shrug something?
Yeah, she gives you a unique gesture here.
Well, the first time you talk to her, she gives you the shake off cape thing, and that's over back in the dry dock area. But yeah, I think you're right. I think it's the hush that she gives you this time, which I still don't have. I want
it. He said covetously. Yeah. But from here, you can advance her to go find her mark down in the Tomb of Oedon, which is a tough fight. Good.
What is that triggered after you talk to her here? What triggers that?
I believe you talked to her. The way that happened for me was I talked to her and then kind of like warped out and warped back in, and she was down there. The Tomb of Oedon. That
where you fought Gascoigne.
Yes, yeah. That lamp eventually gets deactivated because you need to stumble across it, manually.
See, I've always had that lamp get deactivated without talking to her there, so I figured it was a different trigger, but I don't know what it is.
I don't know if it's talking to her either. I don't know what the trigger is for that, but I just noticed at some point I can't teleport to that lamp.
Yeah.
You walk back there, and she is fighting Henrik there, and it's up to you to take a side.
Yeah.
This is kind of tricky just because if you accidentally hurt her enough, she'll aggro on you, and you don't want that if you're trying to complete her quest. So you have to be very careful about, if you have like the blunderbuss or something like that, like be careful about making sure you don't hurt her. But she does require your assistance.
Yeah.
Like I've sat back and watched for a while, and she was clearly losing.
Right.
So
it's a fight of elders.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And this Henrik is also the like Gascoigne's old partner too, which we alluded to before.
Yeah.
Who's lived tragically long.
Yeah.
Tragically long life.
Yep, up until Eileen comes and puts the smack down.
A little bit is good because he thinks Eileen's his granddaughter.
Yeah.
I mean, every time I went I went over there, he started attacking me first, and then Eileen showed up to help me out. So I think he was like hunting you for killing Gascoigne.
Oh.
That's what I took it as.
Yeah, and then Eileen comes to help you, that makes an interesting inversion with her quest line.
Yeah.
As the end, so
Huh.
pretty neat.
Maybe she sees him as being further gone as a hunter.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I took it as, since you kill Gascoigne and he comes to kill another hunter.
Yeah.
And you're defending yourself. I think that's why she comes and takes him out, because that's her job, man. She's the hunter of hunters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last kind of little bit in this area is up at the top of the stairs near a gate. There's a shield, which is there to make fun of you.
I love this. I love this description so much. Shields are nice, but not if they engender passivity. Like the contempt in that is so good.
You know what's interesting is apparently they're actually pretty useful, especially on New Game Plus.
I know that Lobos did a run entirely with the shield, which is kind of crazy.
Did he do? Did he have a weapon as well, or
no? Just shield. I want to say like shield only.
But wait, how do you even hurt an enemy with the shield this time around? I don't think you have a shield bash.
I don't know. I just saw the description. I have to watch it.
I was gonna say maybe I'll have to watch it. Maybe he did it with no guns. It's just like I don't have parrying anymore. I'll just use the shield.
Yeah,
he did. I mean, I would be very surprised if he just did a no gun run though. Like, I mean, it could be because I should have looked at it before we started recording. I forgot the shield was here to look at it. But like he did the challenge stuff that he's done for Bloodborne has been pretty intense.
Yeah,
I would be surprised if he just did a no gun, because he's done no healing at all, and he did fist only with no fist weapons or upgrades or anything.
All these challenge ones are crazy.
Yeah. So like it makes me think that like it'd be more than just no gun, but I'll have to look and see. Maybe there's a way. Maybe you can run into enemies, like charge them to damage them or something like that. Like maybe there's something. To it.
I don't know.
God, Lobos is a patience elemental.
Yeah, he's great. He is very impressive to me.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the Chapel Well and Yarnum Path. These names mean nothing to me, Cole.
I pulled them from the strategy guide, actually.
Okay.
So there would be some kind of consistency in our nomenclature. So yeah, if it's weird, then that is why. But yeah, this is the area out the left of the chapel, right?
Okay.
Yes, and this kind of takes you if you go to the right from here, you go into Old Yarnum, but this plaza itself has some stuff of interest, including the Hunter's set, which if you stand too close to, something completely bizarre and inexplicable happens, at least inexplicable for now.
Yes.
Yeah, that's another one I initially missed too, that Terraman said to tell me about. I mean, like I saw a portal of space comes towards you,
like
and
blue,
I just dodged out of the wave, and I was like, okay, whatever. And
like
I ran away.
Blue hole, something like that.
And he just goes, no, let it touch you. And I was like, why would I do that?
Yeah. Yeah, but there's no clear way to explain this aside from a blue light appears as you're standing over this corpse, and you get picked up and held in the air by something massive. And it has kind of like a predator cloaking around it. You can see it's vaguely spider leg like, but you never really get a good glimpse of it until later. And then you're warped back to the ground, and you have frenzy, which kills you.
Yeah, it just explodes you in the air, and like you see a status meter, but I didn't recognize what the symbol was.
Oh yeah,
and this will turn out to be an introduction to my long hated enemy, frenzy here. So
yeah. But I love this moment though. I think it's just fantastic. A, the fact that it doesn't have to happen is great, and B, when it does, just how much of a shock it is of like, what is this thing?
Yeah.
What is this? That's just great. I love it.
Yeah, it's a white block moment, right? Like you hold down on the white block in Mario 3 and all of a sudden this could happen anywhere, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that you don't have context for this until so much later in the game just makes it like, I don't know, like I saw this and I thought it was kind of a bug.
Really?
Not literally, but like kind of a bug just in the game. Like, was that supposed to happen or not?
Yeah, it's like, to me, I knew it was supposed to happen, but I had no idea what it was.
You have no place to put it.
Yeah, it's a good place to put it because, as we mentioned, this is kind of the fulcrum on which the serious shit, kind of changes here. So very, very, very cool. We're also introduced to a new enemy, the church giants.
Yeah.
Who are kind of like just big version of the church servants, but these guys are really great too. Like I like the way these guys move and their posture, and the fact that they wear hats.
Yeah.
Like giants don't wear just normal human clothes all that often, and I love that they're wearing hats.
Their coloration too. The fact that they have the white against the red. Like Dave, like this is really where the Thumerian kind of like look comes into play for me.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, when I specifically think Thumerians, I really think church giants, but then just the white faces of the church dwellers also look pretty Thumerian. But the first time I fought these guys, I had a lot of trouble with them. And now that I know how to fight them, they're incredibly easy to me. But the first time I was just like, I don't know, they're big and they're scary and they're lumbering and I don't know.
What's the right way to fight them? Because I've always avoided them.
Oh, really? You get in really close to them and wait for them to swing at you because they're pretty slow. And then you dodge forwards when they swing at you. So, but you're really like, you stand up to their legs. I always stand, you can stand behind them. I usually stand at their legs, and then when they bend down to swing at me, just dash forwards, hit them a few times, and then wait for them to do it again.
Yeah. There's so few of them, and they're so rarely put at at real choke points.
Yeah. I mean, there are a couple of them on the bridge up to it. Like that run up to Amelia, I know really well. So like I ended up doing. The one that's in the choke point there, I had to fight many, many a time. And I would just get behind them and charge my axe. And that did good work.
Yeah.
On them.
Yeah, but this one is standing on kind of a curved staircase that if you go down, you actually get a really good view of Yharnam, like Yharnam proper, right? This is what you were looking up on from Gascoigne's bridge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And there's one that carries a big wrecking ball. Down here, a giant with a wrecking ball, which is pretty cool.
See, that was the one that gave me trouble for the longest time. And again, now I know how to beat it, but that one gave me even more trouble. I was like, I don't know. He's got he hits everywhere. He just swings it around in circles.
Can't predict it.
It just turns out you just wait for his frenzy, and then after he does his frenzy attack, you just be patient. Then you can get a couple swings in them, and then just back up and wait for him to frenzy again.
Yeah.
This whole area feels weirdly vestigial.
Yes.
We talked about this when we talked to the Cleric Beast, and it's because there was originally a shortcut from the Cleric Beast down here.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. I think that's really important to note.
Yep. Yeah, because as of now, it's like, well, I already have I have a hunter set that I can get heading down this way. You get the monocular here, which is useful, but it feels like, I mean, questionably useful. It zooms in like a couple inches.
It is useful for taking screenshots for podcast cover art.
Yeah,
it is the most useful lore tool of all time.
Yeah, I wish it zoomed in more. It's like binoculars you can get at the zoo. Like in the zoo gift shop, you could buy binoculars, and it's like, oh, these make me look 10 feet closer. Like it's such a small amount of magnification.
But if you turn them backwards, it makes it look like you're 10 feet further away.
Well, and I'm scared of animals, so that helps at the zoo. But doesn't help me with looking.
It makes you wonder why you went there in the first place.
And all my home is infested with animals. It doesn't help me with looking at statues in Bloodborne, though. Yeah. But there's
that one path, though, that door that's locked, that just stays locked, it drove me crazy the entire time I was playing the game. I didn't want to beat it until I figured out how to open the door. And finally, I was like, well, I'm making a video, so I have to beat the game. But it was something where I didn't want to beat it because I'm such a completionist. And then I found out it just doesn't open. And I found pictures online eventually that there's actually pictures where people would clip through it and there's just nothing there. And then Vadi proved eventually, well, I mean, other people proved, but Vadi showed it in his video that if you throw the prism stones,
the coins,
the coins, the shining coins there, that it actually goes through to the other side, and that's where they land. So
it was our buddy Illusory Wall who did the first video.
That was Illusory Wall who did the first one on that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I should give Illusory Wall credit then. But I didn't know until then. I was like,
yeah.
So,
Yep.
so the biggest treasures you get down here are a couple of upgrade materials and a pretty view.
Yep, which is worthwhile.
Yeah.
Binocular. Best thing of all
Yeah.
time.
And the binocular.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I will say though, the fact alone that there's a bunch of blood shards, or not blood shards. That's what it's called, right? Blood
Like the
shards.
gems. Yeah.
Bloodstone shards.
Yeah.
So it's regular bloodstone shards. The bloodstone shards alone make it worth it. And
Yeah.
you're right. There's one gem as well.
Yeah.
Yep. But at the top of that curved staircase is a gate that you can unlock with the hunter's crest, right?
Yeah, the Hunter Chief emblem.
Hunter Chief emblem.
Yeah,
Now you got to signal that the hunt's over. You're like, guys, the hunt's over. Don't worry about it.
Let me
I'm
in.
opening the gate.
Yeah, it's everything's safe. Honest. Yeah.
Don't worry that I trailed a bunch of beasts up behind me.
So this cost 10,000 bones.
Blood.
down at the old bone blood bones. Yeah, bones is slang for blood.
Yeah.
in Boneborn and Bone Storm.
Oh
The,
God, give me Bone Storm or give me give me Bone Storm or go to hell.
Yeah. But this is it's expensive. You can buy it from the merchants in the Hunter's Dream.
And not
So.
purely necessary.
It's not necessary. It lets you bypass killing the Bloodstarved Beast,
Yes.
which is a funny ease of use anti-frustration thing, because if you're bouncing off the Bloodstarved Beast, you can save up money and immediately get access to a way more frustrating boss.
You know,
At
it's
least
funny.
in my
Actually,
mind.
I found Vicar Amelia way easy.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it. I had a really hard time with her.
Whereas Bloodstar Beast, I had a huge amount of trouble because I was trying the parry method we were talking about. But yeah, Vicar Amelia was just, to me, it was nothing. So I think it just depends on the person.
Yeah, or did you fight her right when was she your third or fourth boss that you fought?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean I couldn't. I mean we'll talk about it when we get there. I had this was my that one boss, other than Rom. Like Rom and her were the two that gave me a lot of trouble.
Yeah, for me it was always Bloodstar Beast until I finally found out. Oh, you just dodge and she's really easy. But
yeah. But in lieu of paying that money and skipping a whole bunch of this level, why don't we go through the door that was unlocked after the Bloodstar Beast, which is the Healing Church workshop. This has a new title card and everything.
Yeah. So you head up. You're introduced to. There's an elevator that has a really interesting trick or secret room in it. You can walk off the elevator. There's like a little passage halfway through to go get some treasure, which is fun. I love it when they do that. And they do that multiple times in this game.
yeah,
so
that's
when
where you get that formless Oedon rune I was talking
Yeah.
about before.
Yep.
Wow, I
So when
didn't
you're
know
on the
that,
elevator-
so that's why it's not in the notes.
Yeah. Pay attention when you're on elevators, Ross.
I do all the time. I just didn't see it there.
just only in real life, not in.
No, because no, I'm not terrified. I forget what things I pretend to be terrified of here and which things I don't. So it's hard for me to keep it straight.
Yeah.
But no, I think I tried jumping off the bottom because like every elevator, I look below it if you come out of sequence. But so I think that seeing that it told me, okay, this elevator's on the reg. So
Yeah. No, it's hiding a dark secret. It's like all
Very,
elevators.
very dark secret.
Like most.
what is an elevator but a miserable house?
Yeah.
Bloodborne Symphony of the First Sin
Yeah.
edition.
Bring it.
Blood Rondo Symphony of the First Soul.
Yes. You know, the thing that's super important here in the Healing Church workshop, just lore wise, is first you find, or eventually you find the Holy Crest, Ludwig's Holy Crest, which opens up more shop options. But the other thing, too, about this Healing Church workshop is that this is the workshop that Ludwig was in charge of, the one that we're in right now.
Yeah.
So Ludwig himself was in charge of the Healing Church workshop that you're in as you're exploring this area, this upper workshop, and he was the head of it. So I think that's pretty important.
Yeah, and this this workshop is just lousy with folks.
Yeah, it is crawling with dudes, like wheelchair machine gunners, and then just regular other hunters.
To the point where this feels like kind of a shooter level, almost a little bit, with the way that it has enemies covering each other with guns.
It's very dense.
Yeah. It's fortified.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Getting that Radiant Sword Hunter badge, which is very cool because not only are you able to get Ludwig's Holy Blade, which is a really
gun.
cool weapon.
I love it. It's so good.
Yeah, it's really great.
Its
Especially
sheath is
for
a bigger
arcane-
sword.
Yeah, I love that. Like it's a sword that fits into a bigger. The but also you're able to buy fire paper and bone marrow ash, which bone marrow ash ended up being very useful to me, like, and becoming a really important kind of item for me throughout this game. So even though I wasn't doing a blood tinge build, like it was just useful to be able to do, like, especially Forbidden Woods.
Yeah,
was when I ended up using that a lot to try to kill things from far away, like before they, could kill me, those snake-headed motherfuckers.
It's definitely something I don't use often enough, and especially in PvP. I've heard that people just love using those in PvP.
It's a problem with Souls games for me. I forget that items exist.
Yeah, I kind of do the same thing, and unless I really want to blaze through them, like, oh, I guess I should use the fire paper because that'll help me just really rip this boss to shreds.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, especially in my first playthrough, I really like playing itemless in Souls games just to try and see if I can do it on my own without support items.
Yeah, you're depriving yourself of a tool because every situation you can get through it without it. That's how the games are designed, and these kind of items are there to increase your verb set and give you kind of new options to tackle these problems.
It's also just my overall problem as a gamer. When I play RPGs, I never use any healing items unless I absolutely have to, just because when I see the number tick down, I'm like, that's a limited use thing. I don't know when I'm going to get another
I'm supposed to make numbers bigger.
Even if it's just a basic potion in an RPG, I'm like, I don't want to use it. That's going to make it go down when I have to heal. And then it's the same thing with Bloodborne or Souls games, even like using fire paper, which you can buy, or these, which you can buy. I just don't want to, because I'm like, but then I don't know when I'm going to get more, and I don't want to waste that.
Yeah.
It was really hard for me to get used to using just healing in games like this, like in Demon Souls especially. Yeah. Using any grass, I was just like,
might need it tomorrow. Have you played Darkest Dungeon, Dave?
I haven't yet, and I really need to.
It'll do a good job of breaking that. Like you really have to use, I mean, healing, you don't have healing items per se, but you have to use, like, it's a real desperation simulator. So
yeah, it looks great. It was just something where at the time when it first came out, I couldn't afford it, and now I can, and I'm busy with things, but I definitely want to.
It's supposed to come out of early access in August, so wait until August to play the full build if it's on schedule.
Might as well.
But it's pretty robust even in early access, and I'm way into it. It's one of my favorite games of last year.
It's like year. I played Crypt of the Necromancer early access. So it's almost a full game. It's just good enough.
Yep. Yeah. So this area we're kind of just making a brief detour into. There's two other areas it goes to. Yeah. Or three other areas, two of which we're not going to talk about just yet.
There's one more thing about the Ludwig's the Radiant Sword thing. Both of the items you get from that, Ludwig's Holy Blade and the Ludwig Rifle, they allude to the fact that these were a departure from the workshop design, and that the church itself had predicted bigger threats. Which I think is like kind of funny and ironic in a way, because like they knew what was up.
Yeah, you definitely start getting a lot more lore in this area, because as I mentioned too, just with the fact that Ludwig is the one who's the creator of this church, and we found out about Ludwig way earlier when you beat the cleric beast. You find out about Ludwig from the regular hunter's badge that you get there. But then you find out that this is his workshop. This is where he put everything in. Not only this, but he was the head of the Healing Church Workshop, very specifically Healing Church Workshop. And he was the first Healing Church hunter. Again, that's an important designation that you got to keep in mind. But so this was his workshop, and we find out way more about Ludwig. Like, I think this is the item descriptions we get too, where you find out that he recruited regular Yarnamites.
Yeah.
He recruited. That's when they started their program too of just regular Yarnamites to make them hunters. So you start getting different sorts of hunters through this.
If you're it's interesting chronologically, because one of the areas we're not going to talk about just now, just because of time, also reinforces this, where like these are the Healing Church Workshop because it comes after the Hunter's Workshop. Like we're dealing with like a, we are several generations behind the genesis of this event, and things have come and gone since then, and putting that together is difficult. But with this, with the the church anticipated these bigger beasts, we just dealt with old Yarnum, which like the church infected with a plague and eventually had burned to the ground. Like, the church is no good, and if we haven't figured that out by now, again, like we're not paying attention. But the game is taking pains to let us know that this church is not on the up and up.
Right?
Was that a cat?
Yes, that is a bonfireside cat. That is Rory's, my little buddy.
Oh,
Yeah, he's hanging out on my lap now.
Yeah. So to get to the area that we are going to talk about next, we're going to skip the one that's kind of on the way. We need to do a 2/2 drop.
Yeah, 2/2 Demon Souls 2/2.
Yeah.
Not like a 2/2 like Tappa 2/2.
am I the only person who actually really enjoys?
Kole Ross makes the 2/2 drop. Is what he's trying to say.
It's a double. It's a double 2. You're like, I gotta go 2/2. Like,
Yeah, just
Here's the I go down to the air and off center.
yeah.
hit up that ballerina scene.
Yep.
Oh man.
Am I the only person that actually likes these segments? Because I hear a lot of other YouTubers bitch and complain about them, but I really like the platforming segments like this.
It's like a puzzle. Like I like how it's like once you figure it out, you kind of have it. I think that if people are complaining about it, the one thing I don't like about it is just the consequence for failure is a long load time and a, pretty short, but like still not insignificant run up.
Yeah.
With an elevator. So that was the thing that made it frustrating for me, was just like not, having too much time between attempts.
Yeah,
like I liked
sure.
puzzling it out, but the wait would get on my nerves.
I think that's a Bloodborne load time problem in general.
Yeah, which is I haven't, it's better now. Like it's again like something that we were talking about arcane builds not being very viable and stuff, and they've patched it since the last time we recorded. Like there's a weird way that this podcast can't be,
tenable.
Yeah, it can't be totally up to date and evergreen the way we want it to be. And there are probably people who are listening like, what are these people talking about? Arcane builds suck. They're amazing. Well, it's like, well, these things change, And if we're complaining about
Souls
these
2
run-ups,
podcast, eh?
yeah,
We're working on that.
yeah, exactly. We're like literally everything we talked about. we spent like a year on it, and then we're gonna patch it with one episode, 2 episodes about the changes they made. That's the actual version.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Like,
But it's again,
stuff, people are like, "This isn't right." And I'm like, "I'm sorry. I made it before they even announced DLC."
yeah. We're doing our best to, I do my best to think of this as a strength of the medium.
Yep.
Like it is good that this thing can evolve and change and get better.
Mm-hmm.
It just makes chronicling it more difficult.
It is a strength of video games as a medium. It is a weakness of podcasts or anything permanent as a medium.
Yeah.
Yep. But I generally like these drop kind of things. Where this one gets a little bit hairy for me is visibility is worse than in a lot of other instances where you've been asked to do these things, either in 2/2 or in the pit. And this also gets better and worse depending on which phase of the moon you're in.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
How so? It's just the visibility.
Yeah, visibility, like the atmospheric effect of the fog, I guess. Although it's not quite literally fog, but just the way the light bounces off of the air in these rooms and the way that they kind of like mimic that. The ambient light level is different, and so it's harder/easier to find which drop you need to make depending on when you approach this drop in the game.
It's interesting. I never noticed that.
Yeah, I also have not noticed that.
I guess it just depends on like what time how often you return to it and checked it out.
Yep.
Yeah. If you head down to the bottom, you face get down to the bottom successfully. You face a mini boss here.
Yeah, this is unique outside of the Chalice dungeons.
Yeah, that's the reason why I call him a mini boss, because he's a straight up boss in the Chalice dungeons. The beast possessed soul,
which I can't make heads or tails of.
He's a werewolf that shoots fire.
Wait, every time I've ever dropped down there, he's always banging on the door, and I've just gotten him with one backstab.
Oh yeah.
So I've never actually fought him. I just do the backstab and he dies, and I get his beast rune.
Huh. Well, it's a fun fight.
Yeah.
I've missed out every time. Every single time I've missed out on it.
Yeah, it's a fun fight, and then also if you're having a hard time with it, he's too tall for the room he's in, which is probably why he's banging on that door like somebody trapped him at the bottom of this tower. Poor puppy. So he can't get out that door. You can cheese him through there pretty easy.
Wait, so you don't have sympathy for old ladies but monsters?
Yeah, man.
Okay.
I think I
like
was the one who
dogs.
had no sympathy for the old lady.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's interesting. I've literally never fought him, which is pretty crazy. And I at least had like 4 saves go through that area.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. That's just my thing. I see it, I'm like, oh, well, this is easy. I'll just backstab it. And I just don't worry about it after that.
Yeah, none of my backstabs ever killed him.
Yeah,
Really?
I've backstabbed him before, but they just didn't one-shot him.
Yeah.
So,
Huh.
Yeah, but he drops the Beast Rune, which proves that Epic Nambro and Future Press screwed us.
Yeah, yeah, I guess they did. I guess it does.
Yeah. No, I'm
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
being
No,
facetious.
I know
Dear
it
God.
doesn't. It's just the yeah. Like you should provide some context to that because that was like a
You
real.
can become a beast.
You can
It
turn
can
you turn
happen.
into one of these. You can run around with the hair running out you. You're a werewolf.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a little guilty. I made the video on everything we know about Bloodborne, and there was that rumor circulating around. I mentioned, I think I said specifically it was a rumor. I didn't say it was a fact. I was like, yeah, there's a rumor that you'll be able to become a beast yourself.
So there was speculation before the guide came out that the beast stat, which is a thing, there are items that raise or lower it, mostly raise, I believe. And when the guide was kind of poised to come out and was delayed, there was kind of allusion saying, hey, there's a lot of stuff that you guys haven't really figured out yet. About stats and stuff like that, and people jumped to the idea that beast would lead into some kind of like transformation, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to being what it actually is, which is a way for you to increase your attack over, a short amount of time at the expense of increasing your vulnerability as well. And people were super disappointed with the guide because of that, in spite of the fact that like it came with super useful like frame counting stuff and a whole bunch of like really, really useful information for like min-maxing this game in a way that you really couldn't, thanks to the really hard work of the people who made the book.
Yeah.
Well, there's also the fact that people were mad that it didn't say anything more. When it's like, well, what are they going to do? It's not like that's how the game was made. You can't really do anything
what is
else.
the guy?
It's like, guess what? All of a sudden, we
makers.
invented a way to do something you can't do in the game.
Up, down, down.
They could just lie. What Cole is specifically saying with like EMB screwing us is a lot of people were calling him out about that because he was saying like, hey, there's stuff you guys haven't figured out yet. And there was like, that's the thing that's, frustrating about it is like, there's all kinds of stuff about like serrated weapon types and
like
and these things.
The difference between beast and kin.
Yeah. Like they're,
I think it was just that bind too for him where he can only say so much before the guide came out, and the guide unfortunately came out so much longer after the game itself. That's just like for him, I'm sure he was on the strain of like, well, I can't say this much, and there's things I love to tell people, and how do I be ambiguous about it? And people just immediately interpret it as the beasthood stat. I mean, like I remember Kotaku quoted on something where he was just being ambiguous and he didn't say anything that, oh yes, there's a beasthood, you can turn into a beast. But they used this quote as like, I think they used this quote to imply that you could.
Yeah. That when he wrote like a post about it.
Super.
It made me really mad because I was just like, dog, like you don't know people shit. Like, you are just doing like, you do you, man. Like like, no, he wasn't doing anything wrong. I was mad at the people calling him out.
Yeah.
Like, you don't actually like, these people are mad at you because they misinterpreted a thing. Like, that's on them, and what you said, Dave, is on point where it's like, he can't change what From Software put in the game.
Yeah.
Like if you wanted to turn to a werewolf, it's not in there. Like, be mad at, don't be mad. Like I was gonna say, be mad at From, but don't be mad at From about that. Having played Bloodborne, do you really think it would be better if you can turn to a werewolf? Like, it's not about werewolves, dog. Like it is. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, it's also people were mad because they, I don't know, they thought that he was doing it to try and sell guides and stuff. And I mean, honestly, for him, I can say almost positively, and he said it himself, but like he definitely makes way more money off of YouTube than the guide.
Yeah.
Like way more money. And there's just like no reason for him to try to do that for a money perspective. So
and have like some fucking good faith in like somebody whose work you enjoy.
Yep.
Like he's like, he is obviously like a super nice dude. He's really open and honest about his life and everything like that. Like, give him the benefit of the fucking doubt rather than just like, it's like the people who think that like if gay marriage is legal, it just guys are going to marry each other constantly for tax reasons. Like, it just like, no, you can trust some people to act like not like a conniving shithead. What is wrong with you that you assume everyone is going to?
Gay marriage is legal, I'm suddenly gay. I don't know if you
Would you
realize
like to get married, Dave? I'm glad you're reading between the lines.
It suddenly has changed my outlook on what I view as sexy. I'm suddenly changed.
It's weapons grade projection is my take on it.
Yeah.
And it's so disappointing as to be farcical.
Yeah. I just don't like it. What is it like to live your whole life just assuming every single person is trying to screw you out of money at all times,
And also being upset that anybody else is making money.
Yeah, that's frustrating. Anywho.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely true that some people are, and that's true. But I mean, like, I think, you gotta, that's not every instance. So you can't just assume everybody is.
I am a huge fan of what you do.
It's also like if someone's making money doing something they like, it's like why that doesn't make them a shill or that doesn't make them a sellout. It's like you should be happy for them that they get to make money doing something they like. That's amazing.
No, that money that they're making doing what they like, it means it's money that's not going to you for doing what you like.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, your YouTube channel. Oh wait, damn. That's to the anonymous people out there. Anywho, after you fight,
but you get the beast rune, which
I could do a whole podcast about that topic. But that's another podcast.
It's upsetting. But this gets you access to kind of like these lower alleys, right? Of like below the Cathedral Ward, and these again are crawling with dudes, and specifically this is the area where the kidnappers like really showed up for me.
Yeah, there's always a kidnapper here. This kidnapper I've never had not show up, and this is the first time I got kidnapped was here, by the Bagman. But this is also like a tough area in general. Like I always assume this is like the shitty area of town.
Yeah, it does feel that way, doesn't it? It totally does. It's like this is the grimy part.
Yeah, it's the fire.
You find the sweaty clothes.
Yeah,
like this is where you can find the damp, like the the description says something like unpleasantly damp,
like perpetually.
Yeah,
was it cursed by a sweat demon?
It's from
I am Sauna, the sweat demon.
It's funny. The first time I found it too, I also was just like, so you get this clothes that you can put on of just sweat drenched clothes. Like, yeah, I can't wait to put this on.
Yeah,
some sweaty clothes. I picked this one up. Good find.
Selling it to me.
Yeah, you're doing peasant roleplay.
Yeah,
you're like, thank God it's clothes.
The main thing of note here, other than the kidnapper, is that we're introduced to a new enemy here, which is the brain sucker thing.
Those bastards.
This is a straight up 3-1 mind flayer.
Yeah, but harder.
Yep.
Like a huge physical resist. Like if you have any kind of magic on your weapon, you're laughing. But if you're just fighting them with an axe, it's gonna take a lot of hits. So these things, they're weird little like mind flayer guys. They have this weird like proboscis thing that comes out of them.
It's like a hood. Like they're wearing a flesh hoodie that can drain your mind.
It's so big.
I know, right?
It's so much bigger than their head.
It's so
and
animate
they drain
too.
Insight, which can be a bummer at this point. Like insight, if you're, they actually changed the requirement. Fucking patch and drawing our names in water, Cole.
This is a mandala, Gary.
Yeah, it used to be that you could maybe want to be trying to gain up to 10 insight if you want to buy the things from the insight merchant, but that requirement has been changed to 1 insight, I think.
But also, like, this is super precious if you're trying to summon people or invade people. Like, it's it's still a resource that matters for you.
Yeah.
Yep. You know what I never noticed with these guys is that almost every instance, the first time I fought them, and it's only something I've only recently noticed, almost every time you come across one of them up until later in the game, like way later in the game, like this instance, there's a couple instances soon that you'll get to, they're always right next to either a well or a tree or something that you can use to block their shot that automatically stops you and makes it so they can come in and suckle your face.
Yeah, they're stun blast.
Right, but there's always something there, like the well will stop it. So you can actually utilize the environment in every area they show up until later in the game to prevent them and really use the environment to your advantage.
I mean, is it them specifically putting cover in for you? Like that makes sense because in a lot of other places where there are ranged enemies perched, they give you that affordance.
It seems like it is, and it's something I didn't notice until later. I was like, "Oh, it's really cool that FromSoft did that." And it wasn't something I noticed until like many playthroughs later.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this actually leads you back up. So you can you unlock a shortcut to Oedon Chapel, or you can go to the Grand Cathedral, or you can end up at the Cathedral Plaza.
Yeah.
Which is the big circular area patrolled by giants filled with madmen's knowledge.
Yeah, this is, I assume, where like the saints were buried or something. Like if you assume that people from the church were buried here and, by reading the descriptions on the madman's knowledge, you're actually like walking around picking up errant skulls.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. You can dip down to a side path here, which has an awesome view of the frontier. This is like the first vista that points in that direction. And you can see these windmills out over the forest. But kind of more importantly, aside from another brain sucker that's right here, you get to a very ornate door that has a password.
Yes. Yeah. Which we're going to find out that password pretty soon.
I'm disappointed that they don't even allow you to guess.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
old
just going to be 1, 2, 3.
If they built that in there where
5.
you just kept on like incrementing it,
Yeah.
they would have earned a lot of respect.
Sounds like an asshole's luggage combination.
Spaceballs reference, nice.
Nice.
Thank you.
We'll call him when we see him.
Thank you. Yeah. So this is also where you run into those flame-throwing church servants.
Yeah.
Which we mentioned.
Yeah, which they like that drains your health pretty quick.
Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then also like the alley where like I feel like most people in this area live.
Yeah.
Like this is the most NPC rich as far as like knockable doors go.
I think it's the most defensible, actually.
Yeah.
Like everything else has been like big empty buildings that have been hard to like take care of, but the actual doors down here, you can probably hole up.
Mm-hmm. And we can gain 2 more NPCs for our collection.
Mm-hmm.
Back here.
Our collection of people. Our collection, you gotta collect them all. It's a Pokemon.
A veritable menagerie of souls.
The beautiful Ariana and the even more beautiful liar man who thinks you're lying about everything.
Yep, Ariana, who I think evolves into Tarantulas after you catch her. This is a prostitute here who she says, she doesn't work on Nights of the Hunt. You can't actually, old dollar, which is good.
Yeah.
But yeah, and she so we send her to the chapel, which is where you should send her.
Yeah, and her story progresses, as you kind of do more things, and especially towards the end of the game. All of the texts that I've read about her, like in the official guide and even online, they're really uncharitable to her.
Really?
Yeah, like in the guide it says she lends truth to the phrase beauty is only skin deep. She has a very, like direct and brutal sensibility about her. It's like, no, she's like totally nice.
Yeah, I was saying, I really like her.
I'm not
I think
white
she's one of the
knighting.
nicer characters. Oh, something I forgot to mention during the brain sucker, though, what we were talking about. Sorry to change the
No, it's
topic,
okay, it's
but
fine.
I think the brain sucker is also really important in the sake of this is the first time outside that weird spiderish thing that picks you up, you see something really, really off and
You're
really
right.
different. Of like, this isn't just a beast. This is something really strange and different.
It's something alien. Like you can't map this to something that would occur naturally.
Right. I just
You're
want
totally
to
right. Yeah.
throw that out. But yeah, so back to Ariana though. I like her character. I really sympathize with her. So
Yeah, especially with her fate, which we're not going to get into just yet. But the way her quest line completes is a bummer.
yeah,
So.
yeah. Well, beyond that too, just the way she talks about herself. Now other people are like, she's just a whore. She can't be trusted. It's like,
Yeah.
she's like the nicest person of everybody that you meet.
Haven't these people seen Pretty Women?
I mean,
And she's giving me her blood. I mean, come on,
Yeah.
she's awesome. She's so nice.
specifically, she's kind of a Magdalene figure, like, and she was pretty solid in the Bible, like,
Yeah.
But the old man, I like the old man just because this is intentionally just as obscure as possible. Because he won't talk to you, really. He won't engage with you until after you send Ariana away. And even then, he is so distrustful, rightfully so. Like, this is the point where I realized, you know what? Maybe being a hunter isn't really a good thing.
Yeah.
If you tell him to go one direction, he will go the other.
Yes. So you should send him to Yosefka's because we want to talk to him in the chapel, even though he is a dickhead.
And even though there is no real gameplay benefit for doing so.
The gameplay benefit to doing so is that you get to talk to him and he talks shit about the other people in the chapel and everything he says, the opposite is true.
Yep.
So it's like you actually get kind of insight because you know that you can't trust this guy, just knowing he's a bad piece of information, bad source of information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't find a list of his dialogue on here. Otherwise, I would have included more of it.
He gets sick of talking to you fairly quick. Like I just have to keep coming back after major events and checking with him, which becomes tedious.
Yeah.
I haven't found all of his dialogue either. I've had him talk a lot about Ariana and then the nun who we haven't run into.
Adrian.
Yeah, Adela.
The names are almost the same. I always I forget. I'm like, oh wait,
feels
they like the same name. They both start with the letter A and end with the letter A.
Yeah.
They're both palindromes.
It's a real creative writing 101 thing not to do that.
They're not palindromes.
No, not to do palindromes. That's creative writing 201. The did not have a bunch of characters in the story that have names that sound similar and begin with the same letter.
Unless you're trying to draw equivalence between them.
Yeah. Even then, though, it's still frustrating to read.
Yep.
Yeah. Anywho, So we're back up to the stairs. We've explored this area. We're gonna make our boss run and walk on up.
And there have been any number of times where we could have like concluded this. Like there are drops that you make, there are shortcuts that you open up, and there's a way that you're getting in here. But this whole staircase has a whole bunch of like diverticulas off of it that lead to other places. But once you get all this open, it's a straight shot up to the front door.
Yeah. And this area is like complicated and sprawling and weird in a way that other areas in this game aren't. I think, because just these little side paths and loops that don't, they have their stuff to get down there, and there's enemies to fight and some people to meet, but they're not critical path at all. Like the critical path up to the church is open as soon as you leave the cathedral. After you get that gate open or what have you.
Yeah.
If you can just kind of go on up. So, you make your way past a bunch of dudes. Eventually, you get to church servants that have these crosses that are shaped kind of like the hunter's mark.
Yep.
That they hit you with these crucifixes that inflict frenzy.
Yeah, frenzy.
I've been looking forward to the day that we talk about frenzy, even though like these guys never successfully frenzied me. Like they're still easy to parry, even the crucifix ones.
Yeah.
So like I've never died to these guys. But I suppose we can talk a little bit about frenzy. I'll be interested. Dave, do you hate frenzy too? I hate frenzy.
Do I hate frenzy?
Okay. Yeah.
Seriously, like if you don't hate frenzy, you are a freak.
Yeah.
You are a freak of nature if you don't hate frenzy.
I'm normally charitable enough to say, well, I like the idea of blank, but the execution of this is so bad that the idea is nullified. Like,
Yeah.
Well, the problem with it is that there's so many things you get hit with it. It's not just it builds up so fast that there's almost no way to prevent it, even if you have a sedative, which you can use, but it builds up so quickly. It's almost like pointless. It becomes might as well just heal myself and just wait for it to hurt me.
And that's assuming you have enough hit points to survive while still being attacked, because you get attacked with a thing that also does frenzy.
I mean, I wouldn't. I guess I'd be okay with it if it built up slower. It's just that it builds up so quickly, and that even when you get frenzy resistance gear that you're wearing, and you're wearing like the frenzy resistance runes. It's just like it still feels like it doesn't do anything to really help.
Yeah. And the fact that it pretty much is just time delayed instant death.
At this point in the game for sure.
Yeah.
Like until you get a pretty serious HP reservoir.
And what it's supposed to map to doesn't really make sense with.
It doesn't make sense at all.
Right. Like with how much it goes up. Like if it was just something that rose when you stood near something unsettling, right? Like it feels like they try and do that a little bit later. Again, unsuccessfully, but just like being hit with a stick that looks like the thing that's etched on the back of your brain, it shouldn't cause you to
just hemorrhage blood.
Yeah.
Like hemorrhage almost all your blood. Like I've been hit with a stick. It ain't that bad. Like you come back
But have you
from
been hit with a giant cross?
I know. So
that
I mean, I
glows
guess
at night.
I should try that.
Don't kink shame.
The thing, like when you talk about mapping, you didn't say this. I thought you were going to say something different, which is that like if the idea is that this is an insanity effect, because the more insight you have, the more susceptible you are to frenzy. It's supposed to be like you being overcome by this eldritch truth. It's really unsatisfying that it just hurts you.
Right. And there's some bits of lore that talk about what happens to people's minds when they gain too much knowledge that kind of maps to the blood hemorrhaging kind of side of it. But it's still unsatisfying in terms of what we're expecting from this kind of narrative.
And what it could be, which would be like what actually happens when you get a lot of insight, which is badass. Like the fact they've introduced this precedent of like, insight means you see things. Like it is, that is what insight does. It shouldn't just like the intersection between physical and mental is so direct here. And I get that as like a thematic thing. And there are some things where it kind of maps to it, but it's less satisfying than if like, you are more susceptible to like those insight effects. Like we talked about the insight effects for these church guys where like their lanterns have eyeballs. Like if your frenzy meter went up, what if like, there were more eyes on things and they did more attacks that you could dodge and shit like that. Like, I don't know. I'm just throwing something out there, but like, it's a bummer that it's just bad bleed.
Yeah. And also the fact that, that it gets worse the more insight you get, and like that is an unsatisfying way for them to make the game harder in response to insight going up. Like, oh, maybe sometimes these enemies look different and have different attacks, or sometimes you just die instantly for pretty much no reason.
And it's the only status effect in any Souls game that keeps going up after you've removed the source of it.
Yep.
that's excruciating. Like,
See,
you
that's what
can't
drives
get
me
away
crazy.
from it. Like,
Whenever one of those, not the brain sucker guys, but like guys that you meet eventually further on, you kill it. The real, you know what I'm talking about. But like the eventual guys, like whenever I kill it, I'd be like, finally I killed it, and it's still going up. I'm like, damn it, stop it. Stop
I
it,
can only
Frenzy.
carry 10 sedatives. Like that's so bad.
Yeah, and also I always have to keep them ready, but I never know when Insight's going to, or when Frenzy's going to hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate Frenzy.
It's a real loser of a mechanic.
Plus, that eventual creature who casts on you is also a real heavy hitter.
Mm-hmm.
So if you use a sedative to stop Frenzy, then it's probably going to hit you with its other attack, which might kill you in itself.
Yeah.
So it's just
lose. Yeah, it's real bad. So let's go into the cathedral.
Yeah.
And gain some more insight.
Statues.
Those statues. That's great though.
Yeah,
That's
again,
really cool.
normally like all the statues we've seen have had their eyes occluded, right? Or they've at least been vaguely humanoid. This one is extremely vaguely humanoid. Again, that unsettled, what's the name for the phobia of holes in things? Like it's a thing. Like if you look at like there are people who can't look at like lotus pods or those frogs that birth their kids from holes in their back.
Well, I can't look at them either, but it has nothing to do with the phobia.
Well, but it might be either a legitimate phobia or a special snowflake term for a thing that bothers most people. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, it's unsettling to see a bunch of holes in what you presume would be fleshy, like face matter, right? This is not the things that are venerated in this cathedral are not human or divine in the way that we, associate the divine being heightened human.
I mean, the heads of these things are not even human shaped at all.
Right.
They're completely like almond shaped heads and completely different looking. And when you look at it, you're like, this is the Grand Cathedral. This is the most important center stone of the church. And the fact that this is what's lining the entrance, the grand staircase, it's again another questionable thing. If you're like, wait, what is this? What does this mean?
Yeah, they're Mr. Peanuts. Like it's a bunch of peanut gods.
Yes, peanut is the preferred nomenclature.
Yeah, they got peanut head. But it's this long walk up, and eventually you look down this like beautiful, cathedral down to this altar at the end where there's a woman who is praying, and you can listen to her for a while here if you want to. Like she talks during the cutscene too. I think you can hear her if you get close enough without triggering the thing as well.
Yeah, you can hear her whole like benediction that she's saying, which contradicts itself, I think, like 7 times.
Is it not true that you had that it was false, that you were told not to disapproach
Alvina
here?
became a great one. I gotcha.
Yeah. So
there's also a note here, by the way. In the base of the Grand Cathedral.
What does the note say? Remind me the note.
The note that you find at the base of the Grand Cathedral says, "Heir to the ritual of blood, purveyor of ministration, place your hand on the altar's sacred covering and inscribe Master Lawrence's adage upon your flesh." So this is a lore note, one of those notes that you find at the very, very base.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's important. It's going to be very important because we get this name Lawrence, who I don't think we've heard before, but we're going to hear again very shortly.
Yeah, who's a very important character. Who we're heading up.
And then with Vicar Amelia, immediately we hear kind of reciting a sort of adage, but that we want old blood. She's telling us that we want some old blood, and that's what she wants.
Seek the old blood, let us pray, let us wish to partake in communion. Let us partake in communion and feast upon the old blood. Yeah.
And Cole, when you said that like it's contradictory, that actually makes a lot of sense when we kind of learn more about the goals of the church.
On its face, it is completely baffling, but it's a really nice riddle to solve.
Yeah, like it's a riddle to solve, and also it makes me wonder if because now that we know the church is not on the up and up and everything, like there are probably people in the church who don't actually know the full extent of what the church is doing.
Yeah.
And it just kind of true believers. And it would make a lot of sense that some of those people are these people like this character here who, is a victim who is succumbing to something.
It also shows the time passage that we're starting to see, because we already talked about it with the abandoned workshop compared to the normal workshop, this time passage. And then especially with the thing that we're going to find out more about the old blood that I believe we're going to be talking about. So that's kind of why I'm mentioning it. With her, it's talking about we want this old blood and what she's saying. And she's a vicar. That means she's really high up in the church. She's a really high up member. And she wants this old blood, which we're going to find out contradicts what the church was initially supposed to do and their initial reasoning. And the fact that that's how long it's been, that things have kind of cycled around through the church and completely changed. And also the fact of how much they really want blood, or blood is so important to them, and they've been using it for such a long time that they want this old blood.
Yeah. And all of this, after you approach, after you listen to this benediction, you walk up, you fight, you get this little cutscene where you're introduced to Vicar Amelia, who we've been talking about.
Oh, she's so cute.
She is I think that she is a goofy looking design in her beast form.
The transformation is anything but goofy, though. Like, this is the first time you've seen this, and presumably the cleric beast went through this, as well. But
man, hey, hold on. Is that what you're hearing when you were climbing the ladder?
Oh, fuck!
To go up to Gilbert's thing, is the cleric beast transforming?
Oh, wow, that's pretty good.
Oh, it probably is.
I like that a lot.
The other thing too, we see it with Father Gascoigne. He also changes in
Yeah.
battle. Not as much. He doesn't become as huge of a beast. But then we found out with the cleric beast that the more associated you are with the church, apparently the bigger and worse of a beast you become. And now here with the vicar of the church, she becomes an even bigger beast than the cleric beast because she's the vicar.
Yep.
Yeah, because she's been chowing down on more blood.
And the fact that this horror game that delights in gore chooses to obscure this with shadow shots, right?
Yeah.
And she looks like a big old puppy dog.
Well, she ends up turning looking like a reindeer puppy dog,
like a deer wolf.
Yeah. Deer. Yeah, like my favorite indie band from that period of time where every indie band was a deer or wolf variant.
Wolf.
I like the way that her the kind of skin and cloth hangs on her. It's suggestive, and in front of her eyes, which is suggestive of a wedding dress, like a wedding veil. This always looked like a sad, dressed up for a wedding and got stood up.
That's pretty
also
good.
Important to that too is that she has bindings covering her eyes.
Yes.
So even in her beast form, she cannot see.
Yep.
Yeah, which suggests the higher levels of the church. We'll find out later when we start learning about the choir and everything like that is a specific to the upper echelons of the church affectation.
Right. So definitely, because cleric beast could see. I think cleric beast. I mean, Father Gascoigne, he didn't. He was blind, but cleric beast, you could see that guy.
Yeah.
He's got eyeballs. So.
Yeah. And also, like when we see her in the cutscene at the start, she in her beast form is grasping this locket. Right?
Yes.
This gold lovey that she has, and this ends up giving her some power and contributes to why people find this fight pretty frustrating.
Yeah, it's good. We're going to talk about the fight a little bit, but it's going to be interesting because I had a 100% different experience than it sounds like at least Dave did and maybe Kole. Where I found this really hard. Like I fought her right away, as soon as I could get to her, and I just couldn't out damage her. I learned her attacks. She has a wide variety of attacks, like a very wide variety of attacks. They're all pretty slow. Like you can dodge them. They're not impossible to dodge. But kind of her gimmick is about when she's down to about half health, she starts healing. Like she does shoot 2 giant leaps back, like to get really far away from you to drain your stamina before you can go up to try to interrupt her. And then prays with this locket and heals herself. And if you can't outpace that healing and you don't know to throw numbing mist at her, that's it for you. Like if you're not doing enough damage, because she'll just keep doing it. Yeah. Like she doesn't stop. She doesn't have a limited number of times she can do it or anything. So I just wasn't doing enough damage.
And she already has way too much HP. Not like way too much, but like she has more HP than the major bosses we fought so far.
She's a tanky boss.
Yeah.
I guess the reason I didn't have too much trouble is because she's honestly never healed for me once, and I fought her at least 4 or 5 times at this point. And I think part of that is I treated her like a Dark Souls boss, and it's something that I was familiar with, where she would attack me, and I'd immediately dodge and avoid it, and then just start wailing into her as much as I could. And then she'd attack me, and I'd dodge and just repeat. And then as soon as I made it so she'd get wary or fall her head down, then I do a visceral attack on her and just keep on just wailing the hell into her. And I just had no trouble wailing into her, unlike what was hard for me when I first did it with the Bloodstarved Beast, where you're so badly punished if you mess up once that it's frightening to wail on it. With her, she doesn't do enough damage to you where you can pretty much heal right away. So I was like, oh, she doesn't hurt me for that much. So I'll just wail the hell into her. And if she hits me, fine. I'll heal and then keep on doing it. So I was really aggressive against her every time I fought her.
She doesn't heal for that much, but what would happen is she would just outpace me because I would run out of healing potions. Like I could always get away to heal, but eventually, and then what happens is it sets in with the, I have to go farm for blood vials. I hate my life. And why did I dedicate myself to this podcast? I hate this. And then would have to go do that. And then had to do that several times. Like I spent like a good solid day on this lady.
Yeah.
And
blood vial farming is,
that's another bad mechanic in the bad mechanic parade. But like, I was very mad and upset. So like, but you guys totally had different experiences. So I don't know. Like I wish I had like video footage of me fighting and I could compare it and see like, what am I doing wrong?
I can believe it. Like for me, it took me like 3 tries. And I think that it kind of speaks to a weakness of this kind of leg of the game a little bit, because think about the run of bosses that you fight, Gascoigne excluded. Oh, there's a cleric beast, there's a big beast type guy. There's the Bloodstar beast, there's a big beast type guy. Here's Vicar Amelia, a big beast type, kind of person. All of them have kind of taught you to be more aggressive than the next. And I fell into Dave's camp of like, I just kind of stayed up on her, and even her like getting far enough away, I used her healing break as an opportunity to like wail into her, and I like either negated that or negated her healing or exceeded it by taking advantage of that opportunity, which I know you have the same progression. Like you're not bad at these games. Like you're probably better, but
like I ran up and hit her during the time when she was not attacking
but for
me.
some reason that was more fruitful for me than it sounds like it was for you.
So, it's possible with what you're saying, Kole, about her healing, that maybe I just didn't even realize she was healing because I was just wailing on her so much. I was like, it's doing good. I'm wailing on her. I didn't even notice she was healing.
Well, one thing, like reading online, so it's not, again, like I'm not an idiot. I'm also not alone about this because like other people find her to be a roadblock. Like this is Bob's one boss as well. Gotta talk to him about it. We've commiserated about her, and part of it might be weapon selection as well. Because I was using the axe, which I really like that weapon, but I've read online about the cane being really good because it hits her head more.
Yep.
And her head is her weak spot. What weapon were you using on your first run through, Dave?
Saw cleaver.
Saw cleaver.
Same here.
So, and that's going to get a bonus against beast as well. So like that's going to be a thing, as so that could be part of it. I don't know. I had to come back and fight her later. It's also because when I got to the desperation point where I had to farm for blood vials, I also was like, okay, I'll summon help. And
Barry's
for the longest
really
time,
bad at these games. I mean, what you're saying though, I didn't interrupt, but like what you're saying though, I know, like, because I did the Let's Play and I had a lot of people commenting that Vicar Amelia was really hard for them, and that Bloodstar Beast was really easy for them. So everyone's gonna have different experiences with each boss.
We talked about that.
You said you had to summon with her though.
I tried to, but for a long time there was a glitch where you couldn't summon for her. And then after the specific to Amelia glitch, there was the glitch that was if your PS4 went into sleep mode, it disabled summoning.
Yep.
Listen, it's not a glitch. It's called anti-scrub mode.
The game just wants you to get good.
Yeah,
exactly.
I was so good. Like I would get down to like, I'm literally like, I'm not really getting hit. I just can't out damage this person. Like whoever this person is, who do they think they are? Like I just couldn't like out damage her. I wasn't doing enough damage. And it just got so immensely frustrating. Like,
also because this took me 3 tries, I did 1 try and I was like, oh, I'm going to see what's off to the left of this. And I went and did Hemwick because that area is so cool. Yeah. And I came back after Hemwick to do this. So that might also have given me an edge.
Yeah, I did Hemwick first. This is just because I want to get runes. I mean, before I even knew, I did Hemwick first just because I knew there was a big bad boss here, and I was like, well, let me go explore everything before I go fight the big bad boss.
Yeah. So and that probably did impact a little bit because this was my 3rd boss. You know, so like as opposed to 5th.
I think this was my 4th boss, so I think I did
before
Hemwick.
Bloodstarved.
Right, I did. Well, no, I did Bloodstarved. I did Hemwick. I did. Oh, I guess it would have been my 5th then because of Bloodstarved and all that. So. Yeah, it was my 5th. So, yeah.
Which was really funny when everybody was trying to avoid spoilers in the first couple days, saying, oh, yeah, my 3rd boss was crazy. Oh, you mean the one that gives you poison? Well,
Yeah.
Oh,
No.
man. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I guess I forgot that. You're right. You can face her third. You can face her second. Hell,
Mhm.
you can fight her
Yeah.
second.
Yeah. You can face her first.
Yep. Yes, you can. Oh,
Yeah,
fuck.
because Cleric Beast
can-
is optional. So
Right, but you can skip Father Gascoigne.
Wait.
you can through glitches actually. Yeah,
Really?
but like it's, which I think have probably been patched out, but like speedrunners.
Well,
Can go-
I know what you're talking. Where you do like
Yeah.
the little hop and skip thing over
Yeah.
the wall. Oh, I guess because no, you can't. You actually can't go to Vicar Amelia that way. I tried. I did it, and I if you go backwards, you know that whole like blocked off area where you need the adage.
Yep.
That's closed.
Oh
just
yeah, you
get
can't
through
go back through there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Hmm.
So second is the earliest you can fight her.
Yeah.
I recommend 5th or 6th, but
Yep.
that's just me.
But
And
her
give it a
HP
shot, like-
her HP definitely lends to that, I think.
Yeah. Like you might have like, so if people are playing it or bouncing it off it or just doing this area now, like give it a shot.
Yeah.
And then if you're having a hard time, don't feel bad about coming back.
I think
Like, go
the
left.
Shuffle fire paper really helps on her.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Fire paper, and she's a beast, so Molotovs will work as well. You're going to run out of them before you get it further down, but it may give you that edge you need. Although I would recommend using them at the start to get her down to half. That way you're both healing at the same time, as opposed to
The cool thing though is after you beat her, you get this locket, which you can eat. It's the closest thing this game has to boss souls, even though it doesn't give you that much information. You can eat it for a blood gem that gives you plus 12% against beast. It's pretty good. But the really cool thing is her altar is now open to you.
Mm-hmm.
And she was guarding.
Yeah.
What was she praying to? Well, like she was praying to the burst skull of Lawrence, which gives you a cutscene that is monumentally important.
Yes,
Also, monumentally important is that it's proven through interview that it's Lawrence's skull.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And this isn't like the proof isn't going to come until much later. In the sequence of the show, but like, yes, it is, and Lawrence, as mentioned in the note that you laid out, Dave, is really foundational to the church. So this is the closest thing they have to a relic of their savior, right?
Yeah, the founder of the church.
Yeah, this is like the hand of Paul.
And this is the cutscene, and because I like the dialogue here so
And
much,
it's
I'm just going to include
it's a beast head too. I think that's also like it's a
that's
beast
true.
head.
Yeah. It's exploded. It's burst open as a beast. I'm going to just include all the audio from this because I like it.
Yeah, I'd do it.
The voice acting here is really good.
Fantastic.
Master Willem, I've come to bid you farewell.
Oh, I know. You think now to betray me.
No, but you will never listen. I tell you, I will not forget our adage.
We are born of the blood, made men by the blood, undone by the blood. Our eyes are yet to open.
Fear the old blood. I must take my leave.
By the gods, fear it, Lawrence.
I'm assuming you're using my version I made for Buttborn.
I'm just going to use you saying that. I'm going to cut together things you've said.
I don't know.
And make
I don't
you
know
do
if
the
you
whole
saw that
cutscene.
video, but my Buttborn video. But I just changed it and did a voiceover where it's all I just replaced the word blood with butts in this entire thing.
Buttborn. We are made
Yeah, the old butts.
Oh no.
made whole by the butts.
This is a really ageist podcast.
The
Yeah, now that I think about it, I'm hating on the old lady, and I'm talking about fearing the old butts.
Yeah.
But what we just heard after our goofing, or before our goofing rather, is a conversation between Lawrence and Willem.
Yes. And at this point, do we know about Willem? Have we heard about
No.
Willem yet?
This is our first kind of indication to him, and like, so this is told visually. Like we're hearing, we're listening in on a conversation, and visually, this is a bunch of shaky, blurry close-ups on people as they're talking in silhouettes and stuff. And Willem kind of looks like the Pope a little bit. Like he's very papal in his appearance, and you get the sense that Lawrence defecting is some kind of huge kind of like hit to the church, right?
You think that?
Yeah, you think that,
but it's not.
No, it's like quite the opposite.
Yeah, we're gonna learn that eventually, but it does seem like that. It seems like a young churchman going off his own way at this point. This is lore-wise, this is the schism that like sets the kind of two halves of the game. And I keep talking about the game changing gears.
Yep.
The first half of the game has kind of been the Lawrence half. And this is kind of the climax of that.
It's chronologically the new order that is attempted to make itself look like the oldest order.
Yes. And the Willem half is what we're going to be moving into eventually after we do some side areas first.
Yeah.
Which in my mind is the cooler of the two kind of things. Like, I mean, obviously the whole story is a holistic thing and is really cool together, but that's when the game really came alive for me.
I mean, my favorite part is the fact that the entire second half that we get after this, or probably a little bit more than the second half, is they kept it completely secret. It's just so cool to me, the fact that all of it was completely under wraps. No one knew. Everyone just thought it was about beasts and all that. So it's just really cool. But the other thing with this cutscene is when I first watched it, I had no idea what the hell was going on. So it's definitely one of those things that when you watch it later, when you know more about the lore, you're like, wow, this was really important. And you don't quite realize just how important this is.
I love that. I love when something old is given new context.
Yeah. Very, very cool. And just the end of it is just like chilling, like the last little bit of like where it's Willem alone.
By
and just
the
like
gods, Lawrence, fear it.
Yeah, like that's so good. Like
it's a warning. Oh my gosh, so good.
Oh, and here too, what I was talking about with Vicar Amelia, and now I can say it a little bit more now that we've played this dialogue, is this contradicts exactly what Vicar Amelia was just saying, where she's saying, seek the old blood. And Lawrence even says, I'm going to fear the old blood. And you get the adage from him, and it still is fear the old blood. That's still his adage. He has that as the adage, and somehow it's become warped over time through the church.
Yeah. Well, here's like, I mean, the thing is like, they didn't, like I always struck like Lawrence saying like, kind of paying lip service to this thing. Like I always kind of saw it as that. Like he's saying fear the old blood, but his actions don't really speak it. Like he's like, yeah, I'll fear it. Like I'm careful. I can handle a gun, Dad. And then just, no, you can't. Like this is, you're not paying proper respect to this thing.
The way I kind of took it, and again, this is just interpretation, so yours could be totally right. My interpretation was that he did actually respect it, but it's been a long time, and the church is so into blood with Oedon, where they worship Oedon, the god of blood. We've seen that there's clearly been a lot of cycles already with the Healing Church Workshop. People have gone and died. He's dead himself. And we find out about the healing blood, and we found out from Gilbert that this is what the church does. They're the ministers of blood.
Yeah.
That it's possible that over time, as things kept on going with the church, and he died a long time ago, that they were so into blood that it just got warped over time. And eventually they were just like, no, what, blood is good. And we see all the good. And, they obviously know the problems with blood, as we found out with the fact that they expected the bigger beasts and all that. But I kind of took it as like, well, they're trying to experiment on all different types of bloods. And you know what? Maybe old blood is not that bad. Maybe it's not as bad as he was saying it was. Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe it is something where he really just didn't care that much. So it could go either way, and obviously the outcome is going to be the same regardless.
Yeah,
I could totally see it being the case where the immediate benefits of the blood, because like heals your wounds, like that's crazy useful, right? And the fact that it kind of elevates the choir above everybody else, and it kind of seems like the origin of that is kind of kept secret from the people. Like I could totally see just in a cynical kind of way. Well, ours isn't the old blood. The old blood is like the Bergenworth way, like what they got from there, but just kind of like moving on to justifying it, and that justifying the same action or a different action with the same words, right?
Yeah. I mean, like, so I guess like the only thing with that, Dave, with Lawrence not being a bloodman is wondering what the schism was over, because like most of my understanding is that this actual, and we can't keep talking, like weirdly can't keep talking about this because
we're at the ceiling.
We're at the ceiling of spoiler stuff, but like that kind of the difference in philosophy between these two characters, I always assumed was a like on some level a pro and anti-blood.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because
no, I completely agree with that. Don't get me wrong. I completely agree with that. But I think that, and again, this is my interpretation. So the way I'd interpret it was that the church had come up with their own sort of blood based off of the old blood.
Gotcha.
That it was like some blood they found that healed. And because they keep on trying to do different types of bloods, and you find out eventually about vile bloods and all these different kinds of bloods that they have.
Gotcha.
And I just interpreted it to be like the old blood was the specific kind of blood that like you're supposed to be afraid of, as opposed to in general. But maybe now that you say it, I'm like, maybe I'm completely wrong on this.
We know from Alfred where the first blood came from, right?
Yeah.
We know that it's from this labyrinth that is beneath the city itself, beneath the known world, right? And that's where it came from. And I could totally see that being used as a distinction between, the old and the new, especially considering where the new blood comes from.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I thought was like, okay, maybe they experimented. They found this type of blood that they did experiments on, that they changed in some way that made it so it healed you. And they're like, oh, this is good. This is good blood. But that old blood, that old shit, let's not use that stuff because that's bad. And then over time, the church kind of wrapped around. Was like, no, we want all blood, all blood.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, the way that you said, you're right. Maybe it was just like, oh yeah, he just was like, whatever, it's all blood, it's good.
Yeah, I always kind of took this as like, and this is kind of a trope story, but like the young buck who thinks that he's going to experiment with power. Yeah. Because he thinks that he knows better than this kind of thing. Like I always kind of thought of Lawrence in that way. But again, we don't totally know. Like we could all be right, about this stuff, and that's the cool thing about these games is that like it's just an evolving interpretation. And I could also read something tomorrow that makes me think differently. But right now, I always assume that he's just saying, "No, I won't forget it." Honestly, okay, Dad. Okay, no, I'll be careful. I'll be back. All right, bye.
Yeah, no, I totally see that, and I'm kind of reevaluating it. I'm like, yeah, that does make sense.
Yeah. In either case, this advances the day-night cycle. So now we are into the night. But before we continue on to the next area, which is going to be Hemmock Charnel Lane, we're doing our special episode.
Yeah,
we do these every once in a while, and we are doing this on fan art. So we're going to be doing little interviews talking about people in the fan art community who do things. Specifically, we're going to talk to our friend Allison Baker, who does Lego Dark Souls.tumblr.com. We're going to be talking to Solo, which is spelled a little bit differently. You may know her work though. She's at OK Sunshine on Twitter, who does really, really kind of amazing portraits, like picture stuff of Souls thing. Yeah. And a third guest that I don't have, who's interested and is not yet confirmed, but I'm really excited about. I will tell you guys off mic. So we're just a little three-way interview talking to people like, what about this series and what about this stuff inspires people to want to make their own art, and what that process is like.
Yeah.
And if anyone hasn't seen it, Solo also made a messenger where you can change the text of the messenger through art that you can download and make whatever you want. It's really
super cool. Nice. Yeah. She's great. And then also, I met her at the same event that I met Dave in real life, and she's really nice. So,
yeah, she's really cool.
Yeah, she's also a real cool person. So, and that is the next episode. Yeah, and we'll be back with the regular one. Dave, thank you again for joining us.
Yeah, we really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. Sorry for interrupting a couple of times.
No, it's great. Like it's
the people didn't hear it.
Yeah, no, well, not only that, but also like it's just really good that you're busting in with stuff, because it's like it's all good stuff. Remind people where they can find you online, like Twitter.
So you guys can find me at Dave Control Live on Twitter, or Dave Control. I've actually switched the YouTube name, although I think Dave Control Live still finds it because it's not live, and I was like, that's stupid. So YouTube's my main hub. Check me out, Dave Control Live or Dave Control, or you can go to Twitch. It's Dave Control Live on Twitch, although I'm more of a YouTuber. So yeah, lots of Bloodborne stuff, comedy, fun, retrospectives of older games. I just started a new history show called Chronicles of Gaming. So yeah, just check it all out.
Yeah. Hey, I'd say I haven't watched that one yet, but it's on the Amiga, right?
My first episode was on the Magnavox Odyssey.
Oh, okay. Odyssey. I was just confused with old the Odyssey. I guess is an old computer,
it's the Odyssey is the very first video game console of all time.
Yeah, with the overlays.
Yeah.
Yep.
Light gun. Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. So and then that's recommended. That comes with a recommendation from us.
Yes.
Should definitely do that.
Thank you so much.
Cool.
All right, so unfortunately, Dave, we let Dave go. His time's super valuable, but and we keep saying this, but like every time we have somebody on, we spend like a couple of minutes just being like, wow, what a nice guy.
Yeah.
So check out his stuff.
Yeah.
And we really appreciate his time. Cole, what can people do if they want to help us out?
Well, if they would like to help us out, they can go to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv. Those with acute ears might recognize that the audio is a little bit better in this episode, specifically because we reached a milestone, and I was able to put Dave through a nice new preamp and processor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the same one that I'm going through and the one that Gary's going through, and now the third chair gets that nice little bit of magic, along with the new computer that I bought for that, the little HP Stream Mini that doesn't have the crazy impedance mismatch that caused a little bit of clipping on the old ones. All of this is good stuff that we are only able to afford because of your generosity.
Yeah, and you get cool little stuff in return, little physical things, little digital things. We try to show our appreciation whenever we can. So every little bit counts. If you got a couple bucks a month rattling around the old bank account,
Yeah.
At the blood bank account, send it on over. If you don't, though, there are other things you can do as well. You can tell a friend about the show. You can post about it on a message board or a blog. You can join us on Facebook and talk to us there at facebook.com.
We are so close to 1,000. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I talked over the URL. That is facebook.com/bonfireside chat.
Yes. / close to 1,000 / like us on Facebook. Yeah. So that is people, post things who aren't us, post cool links and commiserate about bosses and talk about their experiences. So it is a cool place to check that out. And then we also appreciate that.
Yeah. If you're trying to share us on social media, or if you're trying to talk about us on a blog and you want to link to a particular section of one of our episodes, we do all of our stuff through SoundCloud. So you can actually go to that, click the little share button on our website, and you can point to a particular time code. That's something that not a lot of people know you can do, and that's one of the main reasons why I have us on SoundCloud.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so spread the word if you like the show. We really appreciate it. And then iTunes ratings, reviews, those things are all useful as well. Yeah, and if you have things to say about Hemmock Charnel Lane, go ahead and hit us up at duckfeed.tv /contact. The guest for that is still up in the air right now. So we'll let you know during the next episode who's going to be on that episode.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably about it.
I think that's about it.
Cool.
Yeah,
all right, so until next time, what should they do, Cole?
Were it not for fear, death would go unlamented.
It's pretty good.
Man. Umbasa.
And we all pray that we will have far more soon